Welcome to Small Arms Solutions. Today we're sort of doing a part two. A while back I did a video on a AK adjustable gas system that came out of the Ukraine. There was a gentleman that I had met when I was there who literally was a rocket science. Vladimir worked on the Soviet space program, very, very brilliant man. And in his spare time, he enjoyed firearms, which unfortunately is illegal in Ukraine for the most part, especially military firearms like the AKs. One of the interests that he had was manufacturing and developing a adjustable gas system that was user-friendly for the AK series rifle. And he did it in a very different way than anybody's done it before. So while I was in the Ukraine, we went, the gentleman I was with, we went down into, it's like sort of like an industrial area where they had all these storage units. And there was basically a man cave, a shop. And this is where Vladimir was working on his adjustable gas systems. So I take a look at these gas systems. We go out in the back of his little man cave there. He had a pile of wood, and he handed me an AK-47 with his adjustable gas system and a Soviet-designed suppressor. And I could not believe how low the recoil was on that gun. It just shocked me. It didn't even feel like a 7.62 by 39. And then he handed me one that was in an AK-74. And if you think you could get any less recoil out of an AK-74, you actually can. When he took it apart and showed me what it was, I was very, very, very much intrigued. Basically, what he did was he turned the AK-47 or AKM from a long stroke piston to a short stroke piston. And he had an adjustable valve. Now, the original system that he had a fully adjustable valve, which meant you had multiple settings where you could adjust it all the way down to single shot, and then you could adjust it up. So you had just enough gas to operate it on semi-automatic with a suppressor. Then you can open it up for normal use. And I was very, very impressed. The nice thing about this was, unlike another one that I tried, the KNS, you have to remove the operating system. You take the gun apart to be able to adjust. So adjust a couple notches, put it back together, fire. If it's not where you got to be, take it back out, adjust it some more, put it back in, and fire. It was all an internal type of a system. Well, the one that Vladimir designed was external. So basically, you just adjusted up and down, open and close. Now, looking at the design for what it was on a range, it was awesome. If you were just going to adjust it for a particular kind of ammunition and you're suppressed, it was great. The problem was if you put it into a military environment, it was not so good, because if you're in a combat situation where you're utilizing a suppressed gun and you're using suppressed ammunition, for instance, proper suppressed ammunition, you run out and you got to switch it over to a regular round. You have to guess at how much you got to open the sucker up to get it so it's going to operate right. So for combat use, it really wasn't that great. But for any other use, commercial use, it was excellent. So I had one built here in the U.S. and took it out and tested it and put several hundred rounds, in fact, probably well over 1,000 plus through it. And the system did work great, but the issue was still the practicality. Now, when I started working with Vladimir on this, I started doing a lot of research into some other types of systems that people have for AKs. And come to find it, this patent pending system that Vladimir did, there's not really anything else like it out there. You do have the type you have here with the KNS, where you have it on the end of the operating rod. And then I've seen other ones, such as Rifle Dynamics, where you're utilizing a Allen key. Not user-friendly in the field. Now, the AK was designed to fire suppressed? No, it was not. It's an overgas gun that's designed to be overgas so it's reliable. But if you do choose to use a suppressor on it, like especially like a dead air, which will take care of your issue with lower concentricity. The rifle that I have here, I had custom built to do the testing on this rifle by Vince Buckles. It was an American-made barrel. I had the ASR mount, so I could use my silencer co-suppressor. So we did the first video, showed how it worked, and again, it worked really, really good. But I told Vlad we need to do better. We need to make this so it's more user-friendly towards a soldier. So sent me the plans. I had another one built up, and we have the newest version. The newest version is a 4-position adjustable gas valve. This is completely soldier-proof, and the way that it was designed works the best I've seen. On the far position, we have single shot, complete gas cutoff. Now, you'll see in the video when we do the range footage, you'll see using some PPU subsonic ammunition, and it just goes poof. That's all there is to it. And even if you put it over to the full open position, there isn't enough pressure created by that cartridge to cycle the action. Now we go to position number 2. Position number 2 is suppressed. So what the suppressed will do is it cuts that gas down dramatically, so you're feeding enough gas in to operate the rifle reliably, but not beating the gun up and not beating yourself up. Now, trying this with a couple different kinds of ammunition was extremely interesting. The first ammunition that we tested was the Gecko. The Gecko is a very light cartridge. The Gecko is not nearly as hot as the Soviet ammunition or Russian ammunition. And this thing putted right along. It was reliable as could be, rapid fire no matter what, but the recoil was extremely minimal. Then we go over to the third position. The third position would be a normal condition gas setting, which would take a standard Soviet round or a Russian round, cut back the gas enough so the gun worked 100% reliable, full auto, semi-auto, but it wasn't using more gas than it needed. And then the final one was full open. This would be the one for adverse conditions, or if you had ammunition that was underpowered, it would give you a little bit more of a boost in gas, or if the gun was dirty and you were having problems with it cycling. The sound suppressor I'm using is my Silencer Co. Omega. The rifle that I had built was the ASR mount, so I would be able to mount a standard suppressor. I use a lot of Silencer Co. suppressors. I have a lot of good luck with them. I get to have a chance to mess around with any of the dead air suppressors. But the way this rifle was developed with a proper American-made barrel, everything is concentric, it worked perfectly. So I'm going to take a look at the inside of this rifle, and we're going to show you how this system works. Unfortunately, I have not cleaned this since last time that I had shot it. Now here we see the adjustable gas system itself, and we have all the different positions. Now all you do with this is you take a standard AK and you just tap this in place. So we go from a long stroke, as you see right here, to a short stroke. Now the only thing that you have to do to modify it to the gun is you replace the existing operating rod with the shorter one that's provided with the kit. And the other thing is you will do is you will cut down on the gas tube, or it will come with one that's cut down as well. We have a return spring. It slides right in place. Drops in like so. And again, it's all standard components. You're just changing out that operating rod. Standard recoil spring. Standard dust cover. And that's all there is to the system. Now, this has primarily been tested on Soviet, Romanian, Bulgarian systems. Now, for as far as individual rifles, this is something that can be customly adjusted to one as well, because as you may or may not know, most AKs are put together by hand. It's not like a CNC machining process like you have with an AR-15. So, for instance, your gas tube, if you were to get a new gas tube, it will come with the dimensions to cut it down. And then you would if this was new, you'd have to sand down the edge so it would clear the locking lever here. When you install the new operating rod, you have to be sure that you rivet it in properly so it doesn't come loose, which anybody who works with AKs knows that. Now, with the goal of Vlad and the guys in Ukraine is to license this to a manufacturer here in the U.S., which is what we'll be working on, is showing some of the manufacturers what this system is and what it offers. Now, this really stands out to somebody who uses a suppressor. That's probably where an adjustable gas system stands out. However, for any shooter, being able to have the first shut your gas off completely, and two, to have a adjustment for less recoil is a major enhancement. Your ability to use an AK-47 with multiple shots and rapid firing, when you have that gas dialed down, it makes an incredible difference in your engagement time and whatnot. It's really a major difference. So you do have a major benefit in follow-up shot, in recoil, training, as well as fully automatic is another area where this stuff shines too. When you fire this thing on the light setting or even the suppressed setting on fully automatic, it makes a big difference in in controllability of the rifle. And what's most important about this design versus the original. So right now I'm on suppressed fire, and all of a sudden I run out of subsonic ammunition, or something goes wrong with the can. I can easily take my can right off, adjust it over to the normal setting, and I'm back in business. That's all I got to do. There's no Allen keys. There's no pulling the gun apart and trying to guess on the adjustments to get this thing so the rifle's back up and running. So that's really one of the major benefits. So what we're going to do is go to the range, and we're going to see how this sucker shoots and how it works. I was speaking out there, so you may or may not hear some of it, but everything I've gone over on the range, I've gone over on the tabletop. We previously took a look at a design that the gentleman was working on in Ukraine for a gas regulator for the AK-47 AKM rifles. The first one that we looked at was a complete gas valve. You could adjust it numerous settings. Now that's all well and good, but the problem is it's not practical. It's not practical for a soldier or anybody who is using a rifle in the real world. So we have revision 2 now. Now revision 2, this is practical for a soldier. You have 4 positions. The position we have here is gas cutoff. So the rifle is a single shot. This will work well with suppressed ammunition that will not cycle the action, which we'll take a look at. Then we have position number 2. This is going to be suppressed. We're going to have position number 3, which will be normal. Then position number 4, which will be adverse. Now the adverse will cover light ammunition that's lower pressure, when the gun's very, very dirty. Also, when you have some suppressed ammunition it might just need a little bit of an extra push for gas to make it operate. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take a look at how this gas regulator works. First, we're going to do it unsuppressed and then suppressed. So what we're going to do now is we're going to fire with the gas completely turned off, so it is single shot with standard Russian ammunition. Now we're going to go to what would be a suppressed setting, which would be a relatively light setting. Again, designed for suppressors. It may or may not cycle this ammunition. And if it does, it's going to be an awfully light recoil. As we see, it just barely cycles. Then we'll go to normal setting. Even at the normal setting, we're still cut back from having a full open gas port. So the recoil is still significantly lighter, yet reliable. But it does totally change the way the rifle feels. Now we'll move it over to the full gas pressure setting, and we're going to see a little bit more violence in the action. What we're going to do is we're going to go suppressed. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take a look at some subsonic ammunition. This is Subsonic by PPU, Pretty Partisan. Now, traditionally, this ammunition will not cycle in the gun. It's too low of a velocity. But we're going to give it a try in both the suppressed setting, and we're going to take it all the way over to the full open setting. We have 6 rounds. First, it's on the gas shutoff, so we're going to be able to hear how quiet this can actually be. You pretty much can only hear the hammer hit. So what we're going to do now is we're going to move this all the way over to the full open position, yet I still don't expect that it's going to work. Nope. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go over to the suppress position. The ammunition we have here is a Gecko 7.62x39. Now this is a lighter pressure ammunition than the standard Russian. So this gives us a very, very nice recoil, very nice sound. And we're going to be on the suppressed setting. This doesn't even feel like a 7.62x39. It's a very, very light recoil. What we're going to do is we're going to go to some of that Russian ammunition, which is a little bit heavier on the suppressed setting. So, the current status with it now is it is patent pending right now, so nobody can steal it, which is a good thing. They're drafting up all the information so we can get them produced here in the U.S. and show them to some of these manufacturers who are currently making AKs with adjustable gas valves, because I do believe that we have a better mousetrap than anybody else. Again, I've done a lot of research into various AK type gas systems, and anything that requires use of a tool, no. Because first off, tools in the field, no, and two, when you have fully adjustable gas systems, you don't know how far you have to adjust to get it back to a normal setting. So by having the system with the 4 positions, everything is at your fingertips. You can adjust it right in the field. And the 4 positions is foolproof, so I know I've got no gas, suppressed, normal conditions still with less gas being used, and then a full open. So any kind of ammunition I've got a setting for, and it's easily done in the field. So I will be keeping you guys abreast of the how this goes when they become available and how they become available. Don't really have a timeline, but this is a design I'm really excited about. I never really thought too much about suppressing AKs until I went to Ukraine and I saw what these guys were doing. And now I started to mess around with the AKs with the sound suppressors, and it's certainly pretty fun. And here in the U.S., of course, we have a lot of suppressors that are out there, and because of the dead air sound suppressors, you're seeing more and more AKs that are being suppressed because that eliminates a lot of the issues with the bore concentricity, as well as you're not going to blow a hole in your baffles. So I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you do, please click like, please subscribe, and even better, share.